2020. In our lead stories nationally, St. Kitts and Nevis removed from the European Union's list of non-cooperative jurisdictions, and St. Kitts is the only destination to earn 2 top spots on Best Attractions list. Regionally, gunmen are getting bail to kill again, says Trinidad and Tobago's Commissioner of Police. Internationally, Julian Assange, President Donald Trump offered pardon for Russia denial, and in sports, West Indies women lose nail-biter versus India's women. We'll have the details of these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, Vaughan.
Welcome back and now on to the national news in detail. The European Council has announced that St. Kitts and Nevis has managed to implement all the necessary reforms to comply with EU tax good governance principles ahead of the agreed deadline and is therefore removed from Annex 2. The Council's February 18, 2020 press release explained that jurisdictions that do not yet comply with all international tax standards but committed to reform are considered cooperative and included in a state of play document Annex 2. The Council's Code of Conduct Group on Business Taxation monitors that jurisdictions enact the necessary reforms by the agreed deadlines. Once a jurisdiction meets all its commitments, it is removed from Annex 2. On May 25, 2018, the European Council announced that it had removed the Bahamas and St. Kitts and Nevis from the EU's list of non-cooperative tax jurisdictions, moving them from Annex 1 to Annex 2, which cites jurisdictions that have undertaken sufficient commitments to reform their tax policies. The May 25, 2018 press release further stated that the EU's list, which was established in December 2017, is contributing to ongoing efforts to prevent tax fraud and promote good governance worldwide. St. Kitts and Nevis made commitments at a high political level to remedy the European Union's concerns. Meanwhile, the Financial Services Regulatory Commission FSRC Nevis branch issued a release dated February 18th regarding the removal of St. Kitts and Nevis from the European Union's list of non-cooperative jurisdictions. It is also in alignment with the Financial Services Regulatory Commission Nevis branch's mandate to build Nevis's profile as a reputable and well-regulated international financial center. According to the release, regulator Ms. Heidelin Sutton stated that she has always maintained that St. Kitts and Nevis has been a cooperative jurisdiction, and this recent development demonstrates our commitment to comply with international standards on transparency and exchange of information for tax purposes. St. Kitts recently won 2 spots on the USA Today 10 Best Readers' Choice Awards 2020 for Best Caribbean Attractions. The island's Brimstone Hill Fortress National Park ranked 3, and Romney Manor, home of the Caribbean Batik Factory, ranked 8th on this top 10 list. Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Lindsay Grant, said that it is remarkable for us to earn 2 distinctions in this category of the prestigious 10 Best Awards. In the meantime, CEO of the St. Kitts Tourism Authority, Raquel Brown, stated to win 2 out of 10 spots on this ranking this year is a clear indication that our tourism sector remains robust. A panel of experts partnered with 10 best editors to determine the nominees for each category of the awards. The top 10 winners for each category were determined by popular vote. 10best.com is a property of the USA Today Travel Media Group. It provides users with original, unbiased, and experiential travel content of top attractions, things to see and do, and restaurants for top destinations in the US and around the world. Minister of Public Infrastructure, the Honourable Ian Patches-Liebert, has provided an update on construction work on the new West Line bus terminal in Bastille. The construction area is presently cordoned off to vehicular and pedestrian traffic. Construction work on the West Line bus terminal is being carried out by E&J Construction. The project began on Monday, October 21st, 2019, and has been earmarked and was earmarked for completion by December 2019. Last year, the minister stated that due to limited space, the new facility will not be a replica of the East Line bus terminal, which was opened in December of 2018. Although the new bus terminal will occupy the same physical space as the current one, improved features will include increased holding capacity, fully covered facility, comfortable seating, and defined passenger holding areas. Here is Mr. Liebert.
When that terminal is finished, in the next few weeks, I'm advised, the ideal or the concept is to raise the road level. The road will be going into the terminal will be resurfaced and raised to the level of the platform so that wheelchair access would be easily accessible. And there also will be benches. We are a forward-looking team unity government.
The Honourable Ian Patches-Liebert. The tactical units of the Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force RSCNPF are sharpening their skills in a number of critical areas of security. This as over 40 members of the Special Services Unit SSU, Drug Squad, the Anti-Gang Unit, the K9 Unit and the Task Force out of Nevis are participating in the week-long security training course which began on Monday, February 17th. It is being held at the Police Training Academy in Bastille. Officers from the St. Kitts and Nevis Customs and Excise Department, along with soldiers from the St. Kitts and Nevis Defence Force SKNDF, are also benefiting from the training. The training includes classroom lessons reviewing the Public Order Act and the Public Meeting and Possession Act. Furthermore, the participants will be involved in practical exercises to reinforce the theoretical aspects of their training. Assistant Commissioner of Police ACP responsible for operations, Adolph Adams, said that young officers and others who lacked exposure stood to gain the most from the exercise. The recent opening of the Rehoboth Center on the 17th anniversary of the Temple Church in Dietbe, St. Kitts has been described by the Director of Gender Affairs, Mrs. Celia Christopher, as an enhancement to government's legislation on domestic violence. The Rehoboth Center aims at accommodating married couples going through relationship-related situations. Persons will be allowed to spend 3 to 5 days at the center and receive counseling to aid in decision-making process in the relationships. The service will be at no cost to them, but if persons wish to give a donation, they can. Victims of domestic violence will also be given a consideration. According to Mrs. Christopher, the Ministry of Social Services, and in particular the Department of Gender Affairs, has been working with the Church as an organization over the years, and the Church has always supported the Department in working with vulnerable groups, including victims of domestic violence. The Director of Gender Affairs, who was accompanied by the Deputy Director of Social Services, Mrs. Marianne Wigley, noted that they had over the years been looking and searching to find a safe place to temporarily host the victims for a few nights as they get their lives straightened out and get their life back on track. And the government of St. Kitts and Nevis will be holding a series of community consultations as part of the Team Unity Administration's 5th anniversary week of activities. The first of such consultations will take place at the Keyon Community Centres in St. Kitts in constituency number 8 on Thursday, 20th February. Thus far, the week of activities included a gospel concert held on Sunday, 16th February, and the National Elderly Luncheon on Saturday, February 15th at Government House in St. Kitts. The week of activities is being conducted under the theme, Delivering a Vision of Prosperity Through Unprecedented Peace and Unparalleled Leadership. And that's it for our national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com, or you can check us out on Facebook at Von Radio or our Von Radio YouTube channel for these and other stories. News from across the region is next.
well as your business needs, and we're here to help. Our knowledgeable staff will work with you to help you achieve the financial success that you or your company needs in a competitive market. We offer solutions to make your banking experience easier, like our savings and checking accounts. Be sure to ask about our youth savers accounts and our Bank of Nevis Go Club. We offer a wide range of personal loans, including mortgage, land, student, auto, and consumer loans. Have access to your funds instantly with our Online internet banking and our debit and credit cards. We make international banking and investing easy. How's your business? Give it the leverage it really needs by letting the Bank of Nevis assist you with all the necessary funding for all your business expenses. It's that easy. What are you waiting for? The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life.
Like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/The Bank of Nevis.
Welcome back and now on to the regional news. News from Trinidad and Tobago. Commissioner of Police COP Gary Griffith is scolding the judiciary for what he considers a soft approach to defendants coming to court charged with weapons-related offences. He said there continues to press for amendments to the Bail Act to deal with firearm offenders. The Commissioner of Police has been calling on the legislators to amend the law so that persons held with any illegal firearm can be denied bail for a period up to 120 days. He also wants judicial officers to deal with firearm offenders in a more serious way. A Valencia man was fined a total of $16,000 by a Sangre Grande magistrate last week after pleading guilty to charges of possession of a firearm and ammunition, according to TrinidadExpress.com. The COP says the accused pleaded guilty at the very first hearing after being fined $16,000 for having a gun and ammunition, and Mr. Griffith pointed out that over the last 9 years, there were 1,457 repeat offenders with respect to firearm offenders. In Anguilla, with plans well advanced for the 2020 general elections and the at-large elections, Ms. Arjul Wilson, Supervisor of Elections, resigned with immediate effect, that's actually last Tuesday, February 11th. In a letter of resignation to Governor Tim Foy, OBE, according to the Anguillian.com, she cited, among other things, her need for independence in carrying out her duties. The governor's office issued the following press release, which states, the governor accepted the resignation of Ms. Arjul Wilson, Supervisor of Elections. He offers his sincere thanks and appreciation to Ms. Wilson for her service and wishes her the very best in her future endeavors. Additionally, according to the release, Mrs. Maria Hughes has been appointed as Acting Supervisor of Elections with immediate effect. Mrs. Hughes has been serving as a Human Resource Management Officer at the Department of Public Administration. She served as an election officer in 2010 while a university student. Ministry of Education officials in the region have been speaking out against the latest social media challenge dubbed Jump and Trip, or the Skullbreaker Challenge. Several videos are circulating on the internet showing people jumping and violently falling to the ground after being tripped by others. In fact, the challenge is becoming popular among students across the region, with several of them engaging in it. According to DominicaNewsOnline.com, the Ministry of Education in Dominica has not yet issued any statements condemning the challenge, nor has there been any reported cases of students in Dominica taking on the challenge. However, so far, the governments of Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, and Antigua and Barbuda have condemned the challenge, asking students not to participate in such a prank. Some of the schools in these Caribbean islands have also threatened to suspend and even expel students who participated in the challenge. Possible injuries from the prank include concussions and skull fractures. The Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, is looking into a request by ExxonMobil for consideration to be given to over 300 of its employees offshore Guyana to cast their vote on Elections Day, March 2nd, 2020. Commissioner of GECOM, Vincent Alexander, told the media on Tuesday that the matter has not been finalized, but there are some recommendations on the table. A voter is entitled to vote by proxy at the upcoming elections if he or she is unable to go to the polling station where he or she is listed to vote on election day based on specific circumstances. In Exxon's case, these electors could fall within the category of voters who are engaged in the running of a vessel on election day, or for whom it is likely to be impractical or seriously inconvenient by reason of the general nature of his or her occupation, service, or employment, or for the good cause. And lastly, in our regional news segment out of Barbados, government has passed legislation to give authority to the 2% foreign exchange fee that was implemented by the previous administration almost 3 years ago. The Exchange Control Amendment Bill 2020, which the Minister of Finance Ryan Strawn said seeks to validate what was already being done, was passed in the House of Assembly recently. The FXF, which is charged at the point of sale on all transactions using foreign exchange, was implemented back in July 2017 by the Democratic Labour Party DLP government, but the Exchange Control Act had not been amended as required. Mr. Strawn stressed that the government had to keep the fee in place at this time. And that's it for our regional news segment. International news and sports comes up next. Welcome back on to the international news. A witness in Julian Assange's extradition hearing will claim President Donald Trump offered the WikiLeaks founder a pardon if he said Russia was not involved in leaking emails during the U.S. election. Assange's barrister revealed the claim at Westminster Magistrates Court ahead of an extradition hearing next week. District Judge Vanessa Baretzer ruled the witness's evidence admissible. The White House said the claim is a complete fabrication and a total lie. Assange is facing extradition to the U.S. on 18 charges over leaked diplomatic cables. He faces up to 175 years in prison if found guilty. His barrister, Edward Fitzgerald QC, told the court there was evidence alleging that former U.S. Republican Congressman Dana Ravichakra made the pardon offer. Utah State Senate has voted unanimously to decriminalize polygamy among consenting adults. Under current laws, anyone found to have multiple spouses could face up to 5 years in prison. Proponents of the bill argue it would remove the secrecy surrounding communities which practice polygamy and allow victims to report abuse. However, critics warn it could empower abusers. The bill still needs to be approved by the state's House of Representatives. The U.S. has sought to increase financial pressure on Venezuela by blacklisting a subsidiary of Russia's state-controlled Rosneft oil giant. The move freezes any U.S.-held assets of the Switzerland-based Rosneft Trading SA and its chairman, Didier Cosmero. The firm is accused of helping President Nicolas Maduro to evade U.S. sanctions on Venezuela's oil industry. The U.S. accuses Mr. Maduro of leading a corrupt and brutal regime, a charge he has repeatedly rejected. Oil dominates Venezuela's economy, accounting for almost all of its export earnings. However, oil production in Venezuela has collapsed in recent years, and the country is in a deep economic crisis. The U.S. is backing opposition leader Juan Guaido, who last year declared himself interim president. Earlier this month, the U.S. imposed sanctions on Venezuela's state-run airline Conviasa, saying the company was being used to shutter corrupt officials around the world. Hundreds of passengers who tested negative for the new coronavirus have begun leaving a quarantine cruise ship in Japan amid heavy criticism over the country's handling of the outbreak. One Japanese health expert who visited the Diamond Princess at the port in Yokohama said the situation on board was completely chaotic. U.S. officials said moves to contain the virus may not have been sufficient. At least 542 passengers and crew on the Diamond Princess have so far been infected by the COVID-19 virus, the biggest cluster outside mainland China. The ship was carrying 3,700 people in total. Professor Kantawa Iwata, who visited the vessel, said infection control on board was inadequate.
It was completely chaotic. Some crews had a fever. They went to the medical center while wearing an N95 mask, but he didn't have any protection between his room and the medical room. I was so scared. I was so scared of getting COVID-19 because there was no way to tell where the virus is.
And low-skilled workers would not get visas on the post-Brexit immigration plans unveiled by the government. It is urging employers to move away from relying on cheap labor from Europe and invest in retaining staff and developing automation technology. Home Secretary Priti Patel told the BBC that the government wanted to encourage people with the right talent and reduce the levels of people coming to the UK with low skills.
This basically redefines our immigration policy. So the brightest and the best, people with skills need to come to the UK, and we will no longer have the routes for cheap, low-skilled labour that obviously has dominated immigration and our labour market for far too long in this country.
And that brings us to the end of our news segment. The latest in sports is next.
This 2020, get 20% off all things hire purchase at the TDC Home and Building Depot. Shop from the widest range of products in furniture, appliances, and electronics, all under one roof. Enjoy no deposit, fast approval, free delivery, free assembly, and excellent customer service.
I know you're gonna dig this.
We're giving 20 customers 20 prizes, including the chance to win their contract absolutely free. Visit us today on the Frigate Bay Road in St. Kitts and Pinnis Industrial Site in Nevis. TDC Hire Purchase, the best value every time. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back and now on to the sports. In cricket, the West Indies women lost a nail-biter to India in their final warm-up match on Tuesday before the start of the ICC Women's T20 World Cup. In a blisteringly hot day at the Allen Border Field in Brisbane, Amanpreet Kaur won the toss and elected to bat first in the only scheduled warm-up match that was able to be played at the venue due to waterlogged conditions from days of rainfall. The scores were West Indies women 105 for 7, India women 107 for 8. India women won by 2 runs. In local sports, the Vernon Lupis School held its annual road races on Monday, February 17th. The overall points are as follows: Yellow House 83 points, Orange House 76 points, and Green House 53 points. In more local sports, the Cecily Brown Integrated School held its annual sports day at the Mondo Track on Tuesday, February 18th, which was held under the patronage of Miss Sonia Williams. The scores at the end of the meet were Blueberries 107 points, Yellow Honeybees 90 points. In athletics, American sprinter Christian Coleman came close to breaking his own world record after winning the 60-meter dash at the USATF Indoor Championships in New Mexico. Despite stumbling out of the blocks, Coleman, 23, clocked 6.37 seconds to beat Marvin Bracey and Brandon Carnes. Coleman equaled the second fastest time in history behind his own record of 6.34 seconds set in 2018. Coleman, who is favorite to win 100-meter gold at this summer's Olympics in Tokyo, said, "I think I could have executed my start a lot better." In more athletics, Olympic champion and 400-meter world record holder Wade Van Niekerk won his first race of the year as he continues his recovery from a long-term knee injury. The South African, 27, first suffered the injury during a celebrity touch rugby match more than 2 years ago. Van Niekerk, who suffered a further setback last year, returned to win a 100-meter race on grass at an unofficial university meet in Bloemfontein. Van Niekerk broke the Olympic and world 400-meter record set by American Michael Johnson in 1999 when he clocked 43.03 seconds at the Rio Games 4 years ago. In basketball, Detroit Pistons guard Reggie Jackson is one step closer to playing on the West Coast after officially being bought out by the Pistons. Jackson plans to sign with LA Clippers after clearing waivers, according to a report from Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN. The 29-year-old guard is averaging 14.9 points and 5.1 assists over 14 games this season. He missed a significant amount of time due to a stress reaction in his lower back. In tennis, British number 3 Kyle Edmund won his first ATP event since October 2018 by beating Andres Seppi 7-5-6-1 in the final of the New York Open. Edmund converted his one break point in the first set to take the opener against the 35-year-old Italian. The 25-year-old then took a 3-love lead in the second set before going on to win it and the match. Edmund was in fine form with his serve as he hit 11 aces during the final and did not face any break points. And lastly, in our sports segment in boxing, Deontay Wilder vowed to surpass his idol Muhammad Ali by knocking out Tyson Fury to land another defense of the world heavyweight title. The 34-year-old American looked focused on a chaotic Tuesday in Las Vegas, where Fury arrived on an open-top Ferrari for a grand welcome ceremony attended by hundreds of fans. The Briton, 31, continued to promise a knockout in Saturday's rematch, while his rival eyed moving behind legend Ali's mark of 10 consecutive defenses of the heavyweight title. Speaking to the 5 Live Boxing with Costello and Bonsi podcast, he added, "It was a basic plan for me to get into boxing, become a journeyman and make a few dollars for my daughter." And that's it for sports. The general weather forecast is next. Welcome back to weather tonight. Partly cloudy and hazy with a 30% chance of showers. The weather tomorrow, partly cloudy and hazy with a 30% chance of showers. The winds are east at 22 to 37 kilometers per hour with higher gusts mainly in showers. The seas are 1.5 to 2.4 meters. A small craft advisory remains in effect. The sunrise tomorrow will be at 6:35 a.m. And that's how we wrap up the major news package for today, Wednesday, February 19th, 2020. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, St. Kitts and Nevis removed from European Union's list of non-cooperative jurisdictions, and St. Kitts is the only destination to earn 2 spots on Best Attractions list. Regionally, gunmen are getting bail to kill again, says Trinidad and Tobago's Commissioner of Police. Internationally, Julian Assange, President Trump offered pardon for Russia denial, and in sports, West Indies women lose nail-biter versus India's women. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Jarvis Bond wishing you a pleasant evening.